Remember when asking someone out required actual courage? When a date meant getting dressed up, not swiping right in your pajamas? When you had to talk to someone face to face to know if there was chemistry? If you dated in 1975, you lived in a completely different romantic world than what exists today. The rituals, the rules, the excitement, it's all been transformed by technology and changing social norms. From landline phone calls that required parental permission to apps that let you judge potential partners in 3 seconds, dating has undergone a revolution. Some changes have been liberating. Others, well, many of us long for the romance we once knew. Let's journey back to 1975 and see how love, courtship, and romance have changed over 50 years. You might be surprised, and you'll definitely feel nostalgic. In 1975, meeting someone required real courage and actual social skills. You met people in person, at school, at work, through friends, at church, or at community events. If you were interested in someone, you had to walk up to them and start a conversation. No hiding behind a screen, no carefully crafted profile to do the talking for you. It was just you, your personality, and your ability to read social cues. The fear of rejection was intense because it happened face to face. You'd see their expression, hear the tone of their voice, feel the awkwardness if they weren't interested. But when they said yes, that moment was electric. Today, dating apps have eliminated much of that anxiety and much of that excitement. You swipe through hundreds of faces in minutes, making split-second judgments based on photos and a few sentences. If someone's not interested, you'll never know. You just don't match. Efficiency? Absolutely. But something visceral and human got lost in the translation. In 1975, every approach was an act of bravery. Today, it's a thumb movement. The phone call. If you dated in the 70s, you know exactly what this meant. First, you had to get their phone number, usually scribbled on a piece of paper, hoping you could read their handwriting later. Then came the agonizing decision of when to call. Too soon seemed desperate. Too late seemed disinterested. Most of us agonized over this for days. When you finally worked up the courage to call, you dialed that rotary phone with sweaty palms, listening to it ring, praying they'd answer, and not their father. If a parent picked up, you had to politely ask if their daughter or son was home, knowing full well the entire family could hear your conversation. Phone calls were events. You'd sit on the floor with that coiled cord stretched across the room, talking for hours about everything and nothing. Your siblings would try to eavesdrop, your mom would eventually yell that she needed to use the phone. Today, text messages have replaced phone calls almost entirely. People actually feel anxiety about phone calls now. They text for weeks before meeting. They communicate in emojis and abbreviations. Intimate? Yes. But the same as hearing someone's voice, their laughter, their nervous pauses? Not even close. In 1975, asking someone on a date was a formal affair that everyone understood. The guy, and it was usually the guy, would ask the girl out with specific plans. Would you like to go to dinner and a movie on Friday night? Not wanna hang out sometime? Not let's Netflix and chill. A real date with real plans. Once she said yes, the expectation was clear. He'd pick her up at her house at a specific time. He'd meet her parents. He'd open car doors. He'd pay for dinner and the movie. These weren't seen as old-fashioned. They were just how it was done. The asking itself was public, in the school hallway, at someone's locker, in front of friends. If she said no, everyone knew. The stakes felt enormous. Today, dating has become ambiguous. People hang out without defining if it's a date. They split bills or Venmo each other later. Meeting parents? That might not happen until you're practically moving in together. The formal ritual of courtship has been replaced by a casual, often confusing dance where nobody wants to seem too interested or too committed. In 1975, clarity existed. You knew where you stood. Today's situationships would have baffled us entirely. First dates in 1975 required effort, real visible effort. Girls spent hours getting ready. Hair styled, makeup applied carefully, a nice dress or outfit chosen specifically for the occasion. Guys showered, combed their hair, wore cologne, put on their best shirt. You dressed up because it showed respect and interest. The date itself followed a script everyone understood. Dinner at a restaurant, maybe a movie afterward, or dancing, or a drive-in. Conversation was everything because you couldn't pull out your phone when things got awkward. You had to learn about each other through actual talking. He opened doors. He walked on the street side of the sidewalk. He paid the bill without discussion. At the end of the night, he walked her to the door, and maybe there was a goodnight kiss. These rituals weren't oppressive, they were the language of romance we all spoke. Today, first dates often mean meeting for coffee, cheap, quick, easy to escape. People show up in jeans and hoodies, conversation gets interrupted by phone notifications, the bill gets split, or there's an awkward dance about who pays. Some of today's casualness is good. Women have more equality, less pressure. But did we lose something in the romance department? Absolutely. In 1975, once you were dating someone, everyone knew it. After a few dates, you'd have the talk. He'd ask if you wanted to go steady. If you said yes, it meant exclusivity, period. You wore his class ring or Letterman jacket. People saw you as a couple. Dating multiple people at once? That was called cheating. The commitment was clear and public. You went to school dances together, you sat together at lunch, you met each other's families. The relationship had definition and social recognition. The pace was slower too. You dated for weeks or months before physical intimacy. You built emotional connection first. You learned if you actually liked each other before things got complicated. Today, exclusivity is negotiable and often delayed. People date multiple people simultaneously through apps. They sleep together on the first date, then wonder weeks later if they're actually a couple. Terms like talking, seeing each other, and exclusive create levels of commitment that have to be explicitly discussed and negotiated. The freedom is greater now, less pressure, more options, but the confusion is real. In 1975, you knew where you stood. Today, that clarity is often missing until someone finally has the courage to ask, "So, what are we?" Romance in 1975 required creativity and effort because technology couldn't do it for you. Love letters were real, handwritten notes passed in class or mailed to each other, saved in shoeboxes for years. Making a mixtape for someone meant hours selecting the perfect songs, recording them in the right order, designing cover art. It was a labor of love. Dates meant full presence. At the drive-in movie, you were alone together in a car, talking, laughing, maybe stealing glances and kisses. At dinner, you looked at each other because there were no phones to check. You were fully there, fully engaged. Long-distance relationships meant letters and expensive long-distance phone calls scheduled for specific times. You couldn't text throughout the day or video chat whenever you wanted. You waited, anticipated, treasured every communication. Today, technology makes everything easier, and somehow less meaningful. You can send heart emojis all day, but is it the same as a handwritten note? You can text constantly, but does it replace looking into someone's eyes across a dinner table? You can stay connected 24/7, but has constant contact replaced the anticipation of reunion? We gained convenience, but we lost the romance that comes from effort, from waiting, from giving someone your undivided attention. Meeting your date's parents in 1975 was a rite of passage that struck fear into every teenager's heart. When he picked you up for a date, he came to the door, never honked from the car. He shook your father's hand, made polite conversation, assured your parents he'd have you home by curfew. Your dad probably gave him the look that communicated volumes without words. This ritual served a purpose. Parents got to assess who their daughter was dating. The young man learned to be respectful and accountable. It added weight to the relationship. You weren't just two kids hanging out, you were asking permission to spend time with someone's daughter. Family dinners happened early in relationships. You dressed nicely, minded your manners, answered questions about your intentions and your future. It was nerve-wracking, but it showed that relationships existed within a community, not just between two people. Today, many young people delay meeting parents for months. Some never meet them at all. Dates start with a text, "I'm here," not a knock on the door. The casual nature of modern dating means less parental involvement, less accountability, and less social context for relationships. More freedom? Yes, but also less structure, less community support, and fewer people invested in helping young relationships succeed. If you needed to break up with someone in 1975, you had to do it face-to-face. You couldn't send a text, you couldn't change your relationship status on social media, you couldn't ghost them by simply not responding. You had to look them in the eye and have a difficult, painful conversation. It was awful. You saw their hurt, you felt their disappointment, You experienced the full emotional weight of ending something that mattered. But you also learned conflict resolution, communication skills, and how to treat people with respect even when things were ending. You returned their class ring or Letterman jacket. You gave back photos and gifts. There was ritual and closure, even in endings. Today, ghosting is common. People simply stop responding, leaving the other person confused and hurt without explanation. Breakups happen via text or changing a Facebook status. Some people find out their relationship is over by seeing their ex with someone new on Instagram. The ease of digital breakups comes at a cost. We've lost the practice of difficult conversations. We've normalized disappearing without explanation. We've made it easy to avoid accountability for how we treat people. Was dating better in 1975? That's complicated. We had less freedom, more rigid gender roles, and social pressure that could feel suffocating. Today offers more choices, more equality, and more ability to be authentic about who you are and what you want. But we also had romance. We had rituals that gave relationships meaning. We had presence, actual, undivided, phone-free attention. We had courtship, anticipation, and the thrill that comes from not knowing everything about someone before the first date. Perhaps the best approach takes the freedom and equality of 2025 and combines it with the romance and intentionality of 1975. Put the phones down, make the effort, be present, create rituals that matter. Because whether it's 1975 or 2025, real connection requires the same things: courage, vulnerability, effort, and genuine attention. What do you remember about dating in the 70s? Share your stories in the comments, the sweet, the awkward, and everything in between.